The sound of nails echoed in the deathly silence. Each hammer strike pierced the hearts of those witnessing, in the moment when faith and compassion were put to the test. While the furious crowd called for condemnation, Pilate chose to wash his hands. But can water wash away all responsibility? Humanity is torn between justice and fear. She looked up, and no words could describe the pain. The silence of that mother echoed louder than any scream, reminding us of unconditional love. As the wind blew, he whispered, "Forgive them." In that moment, could we forgive ourselves? And if not, does salvation truly exist? What would you do if you were standing among the crowd? Would you dare to step forward and face the truth? Let your conscience be your guide. While many religions focus on an all-powerful God, Buddhism does not emphasize this concept. The Buddha sought solutions for suffering in the present world. He did not deny the existence of gods, but emphasized that they do not control human destiny. All suffering and happiness are caused by karma. Humans often look to the sky for answers to suffering. But the Buddha pointed out that the solution does not come from prayers. Instead of searching outward, look within. All the answers to peace and liberation lie in your own heart. In other stories like that of Jesus, the decision to crucify was not just about action, but also about conscience and responsibility. Jesus' sacrifice was not just a physical death. It posed a great moral question about sacrifice, sin, and salvation. Pilate, a figure of authority, stood before a difficult decision. Could he truly evade responsibility with just one small act? Justice does not always stem from a reasonable decision, but is often driven by hatred and fear. But is that true justice? Each critical moment in life is like a stormy wave pushing us toward a crossroads. Will we choose peace or be swept away by the storm? And what about you? In your life, when faced with difficult choices, which path will you take? Leave your thoughts below. Through the mystical veil of spirituality, gods exist, but they are not the creators. They are present, but do not hold ultimate power. People kneel before the gods, seeking comfort. But they always wonder, is there a being greater than all gods? A being without form, without a temple? In that moment, earthly power rose, as humans believed they were strong enough to conquer eternal truth, the power of forgiveness and love. The hammer struck, each beat a challenge sent to the heavens. But what emotions filled this moment? Was it regret or cold-hearted indifference? Pilate washed his hands not just to cleanse the dirt, but to shed responsibility. But can any water wash away the guilt of conscience? The crowd pushed forward, eager to witness the downfall. But in the depths of their hearts, had they ever considered their own judgment? As darkness descended, everything fell silent. Only the question echoed in each mind. What is truth? What is right? The light of truth is always present, but only those who have the courage to look within can see it clearly. Those who avoid it will remain in the darkness forever. Standing at the threshold of choice, people may reject a supreme being, but can their conscience allow them to deny the truth in their own hearts? Have you ever wondered, have I too been a Pilate, washing my hands before the truth? What is your choice? Jesus and Buddha, two great symbols. One represents unconditional love, the other symbolizes enlightenment. In that moment, hearts wavered. Could love conquer fear, or would apathy overtake everything? The act of crucifixion was not just physical punishment. It was a verdict on kindness and forgiveness. Pilate washed his hands, abandoning responsibility. Could he escape his own judgment, or was it merely avoiding an uncomfortable truth? What were the emotions at that moment? Pain or liberation? Jesus was facing the suffering of all humanity. The heavens and earth seemed to share the pain. Was nature itself mourning the fate of Jesus? Buddhism sees Jesus not as a savior, but as someone who walked through suffering to find inner peace. Buddha taught that suffering is the path to enlightenment. In his own way, Jesus was also walking that path. Two different paths, but both lead toward liberation. Can we learn from both and find our own way? Which path will you take? Think about it. The answer lies not far away, but within your own heart. Every action, big or small, leaves an indelible mark. Karma follows us through each life and every breath. The cause and effect of life are determined by karma. Rebirth leads us through different realms where pain and happiness intertwine. Bad karma is not only the result of wrongful actions, but also unethical decisions that bring suffering in future lives. A calm mind and enlightenment are the paths to liberation. Only by escaping karma can we stop the wheel of rebirth. Decisions made in silence can lead to great consequences. Can he escape karma by simply washing his hands clean? The Roman soldier with trembling hands nailed Jesus to the cross, his eyes filled with inner turmoil. They chose their actions, but can they escape karma? Her heart shattered, but her endurance was part of a greater karmic force. Could the karma of love and pain lead to liberation? In the final moment, the world changed. Pain and sacrifice awakened the soul, but karma continues to spin. We are the masters of our own fate. Karma is not destiny, but the result of choices. Every step carries consequences. Which path will you choose? Today's actions will determine your karma tomorrow. Jesus was led to Golgotha, where he knew he would face excruciating pain. Each step was a sacrifice for humanity. The sound of metal clashed in the silent air. The pain was not just physical, but an immense spiritual burden. Pilate, with hands washed clean, chose not to face the truth. Can a conscience be cleansed by water, or is it just an illusion? A mother's love is great, but powerless. She could not save her son. She could only witness his sacrifice in sorrow. Heaven in Christianity is where souls are saved, living forever in the light of God. In contrast, nirvana is a state of awakening, where there is no more rebirth and suffering ends. Faith in God is the foundation of Christian belief, where salvation is attained through faith. Meanwhile, Buddhism teaches that each person must free themselves from suffering through the path of practice and enlightenment. Two different paths, one towards faith in God, the other towards personal liberation. What is humanity's ultimate goal? If standing before these two paths, which will you choose? Salvation through God or freedom from the cycle of rebirth? Jesus accepted suffering to bring hope to those who had lost faith, an act born of unconditional love. Buddha, in deep meditation, attained enlightenment and found a way out of suffering for all beings. Jesus faced betrayal and unjust judgment, yet he chose the path of forgiveness and redemption. Buddha spent his life teaching liberation so humanity could escape the painful cycle of rebirth. The moment when Jesus endured the agony of the cross was not just a sacrifice of the body, but a gift of new hope for salvation. Buddha's death was not the end, but a complete liberation, a message of life's impermanence. Pilate washed his hands to avoid responsibility, but could he truly rid himself of guilt when his conscience still haunts him? Buddha resisted the temptations of Mara, a battle not of force, but of wisdom and determination. Both great masters chose the path of guiding humanity through compassion, sacrificing for the greater good rather than for themselves. And what about you? Which path will you take? Will you stand for the values of love or turn away from compassion? In this moment, Buddha found enlightenment, the path of self-liberation from suffering. With a peaceful mind and awareness, everything became clear. Jesus, in his moment of solitude, prayed for humanity's forgiveness. His faith in God and his sacrifice were the final hope. Compassion and wisdom are the two pillars of the teaching. Buddha's journey was to seek deep understanding of oneself and the world. For Jesus, salvation did not come from within, but from unwavering faith in the love and power of God. Whoever believes will be saved. The hammer fell, the wood echoed with metal. Each strike not only pierced the body, but resounded in the hearts of those watching. Pilate, in helplessness and fear, washed his hands as a symbol of shirking responsibility. But is anyone truly innocent when faced with the pain of others? In the moment of enlightenment, Buddha realized that all suffering stems from ignorance and greed. Liberation requires no salvation from anyone else. Jesus chose sacrifice, accepting death to open a new path for humanity. How great is the price of faith and compassion! In the endless cycle of rebirth, Liberation only comes when greed, hatred, and delusion are eradicated. This journey belongs to each individual, dependent on no one else. Which path will you choose? The path of inner enlightenment or the path of faith and sacrifice? The choice is not merely an answer, but your personal journey. Share your thoughts on these differences and similarities. Don't forget to like and subscribe to continue exploring fascinating journeys of knowledge.